Amazing, we are back. Such a powerful song right there. And I think it was Apostle Grace Lubega right in the middle of that song that talks about acknowledging every good thing that is in us through Christ Jesus. Goes in line with our devotion of the day today. Such a powerful ministration reminding us that in God's eyes, we have it all. I mean, we should just come to agreement with that. But we are back, and it's time for us to have a look at the newspapers. What is being reported? What are our prayer items for the nation today? And we're going to be looking at the Daily Nation, the Standard, and a little bit on the Business Daily. So, karibuni sana. This is the newspaper review.
All right, we start off with the Daily Nation.
Yes.
And they go with the headline, Exposed Police Killings Cover-Up. And they say 2 police officers to be sentenced today for murdering a detainee. And then court proceedings on police killings during recent protests are exposing attempts to conceal incriminating evidence in a pattern that has played out in past trials. A judge once rebuked the blue code of silence, referring to a conspiracy within the police service to shield rogue colleagues. It's quite unfortunate here, and it's a story that you can read on pages 4 and 5 as they try to cover up some of killings which have been initiated or undertaken by police officers using the so-called the blue code of silence, which is a conspiracy within the police service to shield rogue colleagues. It's a story that you can read on page 4 and page 5 inside the Daily Nation. There is also a photo on the front page of the Daily Nation of President William Ruto.
Yes.
And this is because there is apparently a strategy by leaders affiliated or allied to the president on how to mount a comeback in the mountain. Seems the mountain is still giving them, something to ponder, something to think about. And so they say Ruto allies plot Mount Kenya comeback. So there's a game plan. So president's loyalists held meetings at hotels in 3 counties on Saturday to refine a strategy to counter former deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's influence in the region. It's a story that you can read on page 7. Apparently, there are a number of strategies that they are coming up with. Now, some of them include cease engaging Gachagua on political rhetoric, launch ward-level conversations with voters, now withdraw oppressive border and coffee pay policies, give financial support to needy residents, hype Ruto service delivery, work towards getting 60% of Mount Kenya, poach leaders from the opposition, keep rivals' families from political wars, have president visit the region, and stop hurling insults at rivals. So those are some of the strategies. I was going through them earlier, and I was like, oh, so it's just but a strategy. It's not a conviction. For me, those are 2 different things. There is conviction and then a strategy. So once they succeed, don't you think we will go back to default setting to where we were? Number 2, also the very interesting one here is withdraw oppressive border and coffee pay policies. What do you mean? If they are oppressive, should we be having them from the start? So then you are hurting people with these policies. So if again you are successful and you get the mountain and you get back to power, won't you again go back because you have achieved? It's just me thinking loudly. I was not supposed to think loudly. Anyway, looking at other stories, police and goons clash with opposition leaders. And another unfortunate scenes that we were witnessing yesterday. Police officers in Murang'a County yesterday combined their efforts. It's a familiar face with goons to disperse opposition politicians. The politicians who are pushing to stop President William Ruto's re-election in the 2027 general election had attended Sunday service at AIPCA Kahuro Church in Kegumo constituency, and they were on their way out when all hell broke loose. It's a story on page 7. Just read it for yourself. Then big win for former NHIF staff as court settles pay dispute. Workers who were either absorbed into the Social Health Authority or redeployed elsewhere in the public service will retain their last drawn salaries. It's a story that you can read on page 7. And the good news is that the missing activist was in the news, was found alive. And so missing activist was tortured by his captors. Silencing critics, human rights activist Mwabili Mwagodi, who had been missing for days, was dumped in Kwale at the Kenya-Tanzania border on Sunday morning, and he's still in hospital. And that's a story that is on the front page, and you can read it inside the Daily Nation. And of course, the story that has also grabbed the attention of the nation, the education, free primary and secondary education, and the president highlighting it yesterday. Education cannot be compromised. That is according to Ruto and his deputy Kithure Kindiki. So that's a story that you can also get inside the Daily Nation. That is what is being reported.
And I think even to pick it up from where you've left about the education concerns, because just the other day we also covered a story of a lot of funds in billions being taken to schools that are non-existent.
Non-existent.
And then now, as we can see, that education stakeholders are talking about a looming crisis, that the funding is not sufficient. HELB also, we covered a story saying that the money is not sufficient to ensure that university students are going to school as it always has been. But now we are getting a different story that President William Ruto has reaffirmed that all is going to be well. We do not know what to believe at this point. We can only pray and hope that this is not another empty promise, because education, as he has said, cannot be compromised, and it's very important. I have friends who cannot afford to pay school fees for their children, and they are depending on this free education, and they are happy even to pay that transport fee that is usually asked for at the end of the month, because of the fact that they don't have to pay school fees. It has really taken the burden off so many people, and our prayer is that, you know, corruption, because I feel like that's the only thing that is standing in between the education crisis and it being how it's supposed to be. Why is money being taken to schools that do not even exist? What does that tell you? It tells you that the funds are there, because even in the budget allocation, the biggest percentage is allocated towards education and stuff like that. So it's something to pray about and to hope that God will intervene so that all is well. But let me just look briefly at what is being reported on the Standard newspaper this morning. The top page having a story, 4-day ordeal. So the men who abducted activist Mwabili Mwagodi in Tanzania wanted to know why he was causing trouble in Kenya. They blindfolded, handcuffed, and drove him to a scene of torture. They stomped on his head and jabbed him with syringes. Hey, Jamani. After the abuse, they dumped him across the border into the hands of another ruthless crew on the Kenyan side. Meanwhile, a Kenyan scholar in the US has petitioned the UN to stop President Ruto from addressing the General Assembly in September, citing his worsening human rights record. I mean, this is terrible. A story covered on page 6. And there is a quote here by Jesslina Mwabili, the mother, saying, "I want to tell our President Ruto that at the height of the 2022 general election, Mwabili went round Sagala in Voi on a motorbike campaigning for you. Spare his life." It's quite unfortunate. The Health and Science pullout is covering practices that spark surge in hepatitis. With 4 years to Kenya's deadline for eliminating the disease, reckless habits remain a hurdle to achieving the goal. A story that has been covered on the Health and Science pullout on the Standard this morning.
And I think with that, we can take another break. And this one is to pave way for the video of the day. See you in a short while.